A United States aircraft carrier feels like a steel city at sea. It serves 17,000 meals daily. But for the hundreds of women aboard, eating, showering, and sleeping are not just routines. They are daily battles shaped by a century of Navy history, strict hierarchy, and relentless noise. Today, female sailors make up 20% of crews, yet privacy, rest, and even a simple shower remain hard-won privileges. Why does thriving here demand such sacrifice? And what hidden systems keep this floating metropolis running, or bring it grinding to a halt? The answers start far below deck. In 1908, the U.S. Navy opened its ranks to women for the first time, but only as nurses. The group known as the Sacred 20 served in hospitals ashore, far from the steel decks of warships. During World War II, the Navy called on women again, forming waves. Women accepted for volunteer emergency service, who filled shore-based and administrative roles by the tens of thousands. Yet for decades, the idea of women serving at sea, especially on carriers, remained off limits. That changed in 1994 when USS Dwight D. Eisenhower deployed with the first mixed-gender crew in Navy history. More than 300 women joined 4,700 men for a 6-month cruise, breaking barriers that had stood for generations. Today, women make up about 20% of all active-duty Navy personnel. Hundreds now serve side by side with men on every carrier, flying combat sorties, running reactor plants, and standing watch on the flight deck. But the legacy of exclusion still lingers, shaping everything from berthing design to daily routines below deck. Every day, a carrier's culinary team faces a challenge that rivals any restaurant on land. On ships like USS Harry S. Truman, more than 17,000 meals are prepared daily to feed a crew of up to 5,500. That means hundreds of women, along with thousands of men, rely on the work of 114 culinary specialists spread across 7 galleys. The numbers are staggering: 1,600 pounds of chicken, 160 gallons of milk, 30 cases of cereal, and 350 pounds of lettuce can disappear in a single day. To keep this floating city supplied, Navy logistics ships deliver between 400,000 and 1 million pounds of food every week or so, depending on the mission. Each galley team is responsible for serving well over 150 meals per shift, working around the clock to meet the demands of flight operations and rotating watches. The constant flow of ingredients, meals, and manpower keeps the ship running, revealing just how much coordination it takes to keep everyone fed at sea. Rank shapes every meal on a carrier. Female officers gather in the wardroom, where the atmosphere is formal and quiet. Assigned seating, plated meals, and conversation guided by protocol set the tone. For many, this is one of the few places on the ship where work pauses, if only for 20 minutes. Chiefs, who are senior enlisted women, have their own mess, a separate space built on tradition and camaraderie. Here, as experience and leadership are honored with a bit more privacy and a slower pace, away from the constant churn of the main decks. Most junior female sailors find themselves in the enlisted galley. The lines are long, the food is served cafeteria style, and speed matters. Mealtimes are brief, sometimes squeezed between watch rotations or maintenance shifts. For those working late, aviation technicians, engineers, or flight deck crew, there are mid-rats, the midnight rations that keep the ship running through the night. Where a woman eats is not just about food, it is a map of her place in the ship's social order. Inside a junior enlisted berthing, every inch counts. 60 to 100 women share a compartment lined with triple-stacked racks, each one barely more than a metal box, just 77 inches long and 27 inches wide. There is less than 2 feet of headroom, not enough to sit up straight, and the only storage is a narrow locker or a shallow drawer wedged beneath the bunk. Uniforms, boots, toiletries, and the few personal mementos allowed must all fit in this cramped space. The aisle between racks is just wide enough for 2 people to squeeze past each other. Privacy comes down to a thin curtain, easily brushed aside by a passing shipmate. For months at a time, this is home. The air is thick with the hum of ventilation, the scent of detergent, and the constant shuffle of bodies moving in and out. Even off duty, there is no true escape from the press of metal and people, only a brief retreat behind a curtain in a room that never really sleeps. Sleep comes in fragments on a carrier. For many junior enlisted women, 4 to 6 hours of rest is split into short, unpredictable blocks, rarely a full night, often just a nap between shifts. The ship never quiets. Jet engines roar overhead, catapults slam the deck, alarms ring out at all hours, and heavy watertight doors clang shut as sailors move between compartments. Even deep below the flight deck, the vibrations and mechanical hums seep through metal walls. Earplugs and eye masks become essential gear, tucked into the same small lockers as uniforms and toiletries. Some sailors develop strict routines, slipping into their racks at odd hours and blocking out the world behind a thin curtain. Others trade tips on the quietest spots or swap bunks for a better chance at uninterrupted sleep. The body learns to adapt, but the fatigue settles in. Every day starts with tired eyes and stiff muscles, as the cycle of noise and broken sleep repeats, leaving little room for recovery before the next watch begins. 3 or 4 showers for up to 100 sailors means hygiene is a race against the clock. Each woman waits her turn, moving quickly through a routine perfected by necessity. Get wet, shut off the water, soap up, and rinse fast. A Navy shower uses only 2 or 3 gallons, far less than the 16 or more at home. The ship's nuclear reactors can desalinate seawater, but plumbing and heating limits keep water discipline strict. Long hair, shaving, and menstrual care must all fit into a narrow window, often with someone else already waiting. When a valve failed on USS Eisenhower in 2016, showers and female birthing were down for nearly 2 days. Sailors improvised with bottled water, wet wipes, and help from friends, but embarrassment and fatigue set in quickly. Morale teams scrambled to deliver supplies and extra hygiene breaks, but the lesson was clear. On a carrier, even small system failures ripple through every part of daily life. On the newest generation of carriers, the Navy replaced urinals with stall-only bathrooms, known as heads. Every restroom is built around individual toilet stalls and sinks, making it possible to reassign spaces as the crew's gender mix changes over time. This design aims to solve a problem that older ships never anticipated: how to provide privacy and flexibility for a crew that can shift from mostly men to hundreds of women, or any ratio in between. The stall-only layout on Ford-class carriers is a calculated design gamble. It is meant to support a more adaptable and inclusive environment, even as it introduces new complexities for daily routines. Aboard the newest carriers, a single breakdown in the vacuum sewage system can throw daily life into chaos. When the toilets clog, entire heads shut down, forcing women to cross multiple decks in search of a working bathroom or shower. Each deep acid flush to clear the system costs the Navy around $400,000, a cost that stings every time the pipes back up. The disruption is not just financial. Crew members on late shifts scramble for facilities, sometimes waiting in line while the clock ticks down on precious sleep or watch turnover. Routine collapses, stress rises, and the burden lands hardest on those already stretched thin. A senior female chief stands at the center of an invisible network, quietly guiding younger sailors through the demands of carrier life. With more than 200 days at sea each year, the risk of burnout and early resignation is never far away. For women, the numbers are stark. About 7 out of 10 will leave the Navy before a full career, and the rate is even higher on carriers. Mentorship is not a formal program here. It is passed along in late-night corridor talks, shared routines, and practical advice about surviving long watches and scrutiny. These quiet exchanges help keep the crew moving forward, one deployment at a time. Today, women serve on every U.S. aircraft carrier, yet daily life still tests endurance and dignity in ways policy alone cannot fix. As the Navy recruits its next generation, the real challenge is not just access, it is equity. The steel walls change, but the need for true belonging endures.